this shit not gonna go.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the CrownHoops Podcast. My name is JORDANDALY. With me, as always, we got the full cast back. It's been a while. We got Mike White, Stacey Collier, and Ben Okazawa. Say what's up, guys.
What's going on?
What's up?
What's up, guys? Happy to be back.
Yep.
We are on to episode number 29 now. Last episode we did was before the new year. It was back in 2019. I believe we did, like, decade superlatives, and I think we ended it off saying we were going to do best moments of the decade next. Yeah, that's not happening, guys. It's already the middle of January. Life happened.
2020.
We got busy, so we figured that's probably redundant now because y'all have heard podcasts, read articles on all the best moments. You guys probably already know what the best moment was. What was our best moment? Do you guys remember? We sat for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, we did. We had a map though.
Like ranking. We ranked it. We were prepared for this, right? Because we were gonna try to do it all in one episode, but it ended up being too long. I think we had some technical difficulties too.
We did.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that last outro. That's right. The outro on the last episode, we had to record the intro and the outro. We had to re-record. Ben didn't talk in any of those because he couldn't. His mic stopped working. So that's pretty funny. Yeah. So this week we are moving on past that, kind of just getting through it. Do you guys remember what we had as the best moment of the decade?
Was it the block?
Could have been Cavs championship. Could have been the LeBron block in Game 7.
Okay, I remember we had like the Toronto series on there. Toronto winning the playoffs and all that, like Kawhi's shot. I remember that was somewhere on there.
Right.
I think the decision was somewhere on there. I was pissed that like the majority of the moments had LeBron in it. And you guys know how much I hate LeBron, so that was frustrating. But
can't deny him.
Yeah, no, you definitely can't deny his greatness. But yeah, we have a huge topic list. We're just about halfway through the NBA, if not already at halfway mark for the NBA season. So let's get right into it, starting with, I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing about him. I know I am. I don't know if you guys are, but Zion Williamson. He is getting his debut January 22nd against the San Antonio Spurs. Let me start this off by saying, like, this dude has not played a minute of an NBA game. He is getting way too much hype, in my opinion. There was a screenshot someone posted on Twitter. If I find it, I'll post it on the CrownHoops Podcast Twitter. It was a screenshot of ESPN on TV. And you know how on the bottom of ESPN they have, like, what stories are going to come up?
Right.
The list was, it was Zion, NBA, Zion, something else, Zion, something else, Zion. Dude has not touched the court yet. I don't know about you, but yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on Zion debuting. Obviously, he's been out for a while with that injury. I've seen one video of him playing since the summer league. So let's start with that, Stacey.
All right. Well, first I wanted to say that I was on the train of Zion redshirting the rest of the year, getting himself together fully, and coming back next season, pull a Ben Simmons type deal. But, you know, he's not going to do that. Obviously, he's going to debut against San Antonio Spurs. I think the love of the game for Zion is what drove him to debut, to play through the second half of the season. And it's going to be a great boost for the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm excited to see him on the court. I think he's going to play hard against the Spurs. We'll see, like, if he been really working on his jump shot and his handles, which I had questions about. And I think it's going to be a great boost for the Pelicans. They just won against the Utah Jazz amid all this news about Zion. So I think it's going to breathe new life into the Pelicans. And we're going to see how they're going to gel. Now you got to insert him with, you know, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Jackson Hayes, and the rest of the guys. So we're going to see, like, how the chemistry is going to work. Will Zion be a number 1 or number 2 option? We don't know, but I'm excited. I'm alone a hype train. It's kind of like undeserving, but at the same time, I'm hyped for Zion. I'm hyped. I think he's going to do well. I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah, I like and I agree with what you said about kind of pulling a Ben Simmons. I thought he should have done that as well. I mean, the Pelicans are in 13th place right now in the West. it's not their year. They're not winning it this year. Sit him, get completely healthy, don't risk re-injury. It's not like Zion, even if he is all that he was hyped out to be, is going to make them get into the playoffs this year. I don't see it happening. Yeah, if I was him, I would pull a Ben Simmons. But Mike, what are your thoughts on Zion and his debut?
Well, I mean, I'm ready to see him play. If he's healthy, then I say he should play. I mean, he's a young guy. Young guys like to play. If he's healthy, he should play. So I'm excited for it. I mean, I don't expect much from the Pelicans this year, but they're 7-3 in their last 10. They just got a victory tonight, like Stacey said. I mean, they're really only 4 games out of the 8 spot, even though they're not going to win a championship. I mean, it would be crazy to see a young team like that build camaraderie like that and make the playoffs. I mean, you have a go-to scorer in Brandon Ingram, who we were just talking about, dropped 49 tonight. You have veteran presence with Drew Holiday. You have a bunch of talented young guys. I'm ready to see how he molds with the rest of the team. Now, do I expect him to make a lot of noise? Not at all. But, hey, I'm ready to see him play. This is a phenom. I mean, I know he's getting a lot of hype, but that's kind of what we do with players like this when they're coming out with so much skill and physical gifts like that. I mean, he's a walking double-double, heck, almost triple-double a night. So I'm ready to see him play. I think he's going to be good. And I just hope I hope he's slimmed down a little bit. I know he's out there in New Orleans. I hope he's slimmed down because he really want to protect those knees, man. But I'm ready to see him play and see if he can live up to the hype.
Yeah, man, that just reminded me a few episodes, probably actually earlier on in the podcast when we first started. We had an older intro, and there was one line you said that was our intro. And I loved it. It was like, be eating that something, that gumbo. So be eating that gumbo.
Hey, you gotta be careful down there, man.
Oh
you
my
put
God.
on them pounds. Look.
It was so funny. But yeah, no, definitely true. Ben, what are your thoughts on Zion and his debut?
I mean, I agree with Mike in a sense that regardless of how overhyped he may be becoming, this guy is still in his own right a phenom. Because we saw him in high school, we saw him at Duke, he lived up to the hype. Summer League, he lived up to the hype, averaging, a good 18, 20 plus points on like 60+% shooting. He was putting up some pretty crazy numbers, so it sucked to see him get hurt for sure. And I think we would have probably a very different Rookie of the Year discussion right now if Zion had been in the conversation. But I'm excited to see him come back. Obviously, his chances for Rookie of the Year are gone. But it'll still be good to see him, how he fits with Brandon Ingram as a star, how he fits, with Lonzo as his point guard, with, JJ Redick as one of the shooters there, how he kind of just like Mike said, molds with the entire squad. Because I think next year, if, they keep not necessarily tanking, but if they keep playing at the rate they're playing, they get a high draft pick, maybe make some deals, this could be a pretty exciting team to watch. So I'm excited to see him come back. Hopefully they haven't rushed it. I would hate to see him get re-injured. But if he took the necessary time and he's ready to go and he can play out the rest of the year, I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly what you said. I'm my biggest concern is the injury. If he re-injures it, he's screwing himself for a long time. He won't play this year. There's a chance they'll sit him next year just to make sure that he doesn't re-injure or re-injury. It's definitely something he has to be careful with. I definitely see a minutes restriction for him when he first starts out. I don't think he'll be in the starting lineup. I don't think he'll be playing starters minutes. Maybe around 20 minutes a game to start him off at least. Get him accumulated to the NBA. Like I said, he has not played an NBA game. I don't count Summer League. I'm not counting that. He's going to need to get used to the pace of the game. And like Mike said, he's on the heavier side. He's going to need to cut some weight. So there's a long way to go with that. He'll be hitting the court soon. We'll see how it goes, and we can kind of touch up on that subject again after we've seen him play a few games and see if he's accumulating well, and we'll go from there, I guess. But next up, I'm a Celtics fan, so I love talking about Celtics as much as I can. I try to sneak in as much as I can. There's a debate going on right now. We had this debate before this podcast was even a thing, before Crown Hoops was even a thing, before Hoop Life TV was even a thing. When Tatum was first drafted, there was a debate going around of who had the better potential, Jaylen Brown versus Jayson Tatum. Tatum kind of won that argument at the time. For the past 2 years, it's been Tatum. This year, Brown has made a tremendous leap. And now the debate's kind of back with Brown versus Tatum. Who's better? Who would you rather have? Brown's rookie contract's coming up. Tatum will follow the year after. It may be a decision that they may need to make. If they can only afford one of them, they can only keep one of them. Who's it going to be? And that's kind of where the debate's coming from. So I kind of wanted to see your thoughts on the Brown versus Tatum debate. I have the stat lines right here. Brown's averaging 20 points, 6.9 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 1.1 steals, 49.2% from the field, and 39.5% from deep. Tatum with very similar stats of 21.3 points, 6.9 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.4 steals, 42.9% from the field, and 36.3% from deep. So Tatum scoring 1 point more with 0.5 assists more, and he's shooting a little bit worse than Brown. So kind of start from there. Mike, we'll start with you. Brown versus Tatum. Who do you like better?
All right, this is tougher than I thought it would be because, like you said, their stats are pretty much the same. But if I had to pick one to pay the big money to, slight edge, even though everybody kept calling him the next Kobe, and I don't like that. I'm gonna go with Jayson Tatum. I'm gonna go with Jayson Tatum just simply because I think Jayson Tatum can carry a team offensively for longer stretches than Jaylen Brown can. I mean, I know their stats are similar, but this is a great all-around team. Ultimately, those two come second and third, I would guess, to Kemba Walker for the team. So they're playing subs. It's pretty even, but they're playing a lesser role to him, I believe. So I'm going to go Tatum. If he was my main guy on the team, I think he could carry me a lot longer than maybe Brown could, even though I think Brown's a better defender, definitely on-ball defender. But slight edge, I'm going to take Jayson Tatum.
Okay. Stacey, what about you?
This is tough, and a lot of people forget that Jaylen Brown was a top 5 pick in the 2016 draft. So he's been expected to put up numbers like this. But if I had to choose somebody, I'm going to roll with Jayson Tatum. Because number one, he's from St. Louis, just like me, so I got to roll with him.
That's true. That's true.
But also, I think his upside is more than Jaylen Brown. I think you can build a future around Tatum. I think he's going to become a great defender. I think he's going to be a great two-way player in the NBA. And also, I've been wondering this, if Jayson Tatum was on another team where he's the number one option, would he play better? Because, it's kind of hard to play with Brown, and I'm going to throw Gordon Hayward in there because all three of them do the same thing. So I think Tatum will, if he was on another team, he will be a superstar in the league. But one thing that Tatum does have to fix that Brown has over him is efficiency. Tatum's only shooting 43%. As that guy, you can't shoot 43%. It got to be up 47, 48, and that's where I give Brown the points that he's been more efficient. But Tatum, he has that Mamba-ish mentality, so he's going to take wild shots from time to time. He's going to want to hit the big ones. He's going to want to look to score, and you want that, but at the same time, got to work on being more efficient. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take Tatum over Brown.
Okay. Ben, what about you?
Just like these guys, it's hard to pass up on Tatum's potential. Honestly, to me, for Brown this year, huge step up from previous years, and for Tatum, it's a bit of a step down from his first year. So just because of kind of the flashes that he showed in that first couple of years. So I mean, it's going to be tough. But for me, and I know that Brown is playing better right now, way better, way more efficient from the field, a bit more efficient from deep, shooting almost 40%. But I think just got to go with my gut, who I would rather give the ball to, give the keys to my offense to. I'm taking Jayson Tatum.
Okay. So I'm going to disagree with all of you right now. So Jayson Tatum is my favorite player right now on the Celtics. I have his jersey hanging up on my wall right there. Like, Jayson Tatum, he's my dude, right? But one thing about the Celtics is it is 100% complete unselfish basketball. And if that's not your main goal on the court, you just don't really fit in. Tatum's been making it work right now. But one thing about Tatum is he definitely has an ego. He definitely has a chip on his shoulder. He wants to be the best guy on the court. He wants it to be his team. With the Celtics organization, I don't think that's going to happen. One thing about the Celtics is they've always had a good amount of talent on the roster. There's never really a number one guy. Obviously, there may be a guy they run their offense through a little bit more, but there's never like one guy who's leaps and bounds about everyone else. The court's kind of shared in that aspect, and I think Brown will fit into that role a little bit more. Tatum, my personal opinion is that Tatum's going to go where the money is. Tatum's going to go where the spotlight is. He wants to be that guy. It kills me to say this, obviously because he's my favorite player. He was best friends with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving went and did it. I have no doubt in my mind that Tatum's going to go do the same thing. I'm going to have no hate for Tatum because Tatum has the right to go do that. He's a young guy in the NBA. He hasn't promised us anything. We drafted him. He didn't sign here. He didn't choose here. If he chooses to go after his rookie contract, that's up to him. Brown is the guy I see sticking around. Brown's a guy that wants to win. Brown's a guy who's driven to win. He's not really in it for the money. He didn't even sign a max contract when he just re-signed with us. I see Brown sticking around for a while. I think he falls more into that team-first mentality than Tatum. Tatum's a guy that likes to take that final shot at the end of the game, and which he has been doing remarkably, by the way. I don't know if you guys know this stat, but it was any shot taken to either win the game or send the game to overtime. In the past year, he's only missed one, which is insane. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the Celtics Clippers game. This was months ago at this point, but hit it in regular time and one in overtime. Insane. We still lost that game though, but I definitely think Tatum is going to be a better player. But if I have to take one, I'm taking Brown just because I think chemistry-wise, and you guys know I'm big on chemistry. You guys know I'm huge on that. I think Brown's a better fit. So I guess it depends on team to team. But with the current Celtics, I'm keeping Brown.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, we've had too much heartbreak. I gotta accept the reality. Tatum's my favorite player. I would love for him to stay. I really just don't see it happening. He's gonna go to a big city. Watch him follow Kyrie. I would cry.
He went to Brooklyn.
I would cry. Boys, I ain't kidding. I would cry.
If he went to
wherever Kyrie is, because we still got 2 years, and we know that man likes to jump. If you think he's in Brooklyn 2 years from now? Nah,
yeah, it depends on what KD he get.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
We were gonna move this earlier, but this is just like a perfect segment. I'm gonna move this up right now. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I'm ready.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
Here we go.
Oh, all right. Kyrie Irving recently made a statement. You guys know how much I love Kyrie. He posted on social media this long thing. I'm going to slim it down for you. Basically, what he said was that Brooklyn doesn't have enough pieces to win. Brooklyn needs more pieces, and that his current players aren't enough. He also named a bunch of his players. 2 people he left out, by the way. Joe Harris and Jared Allen. Left them out. Interesting to me. I suspect some tea that'll come at a later date. I definitely think something's going on in Brooklyn. If he doesn't think himself and KD is enough to win a championship, something is extremely wrong in that guy's head. KD is enough to bring a championship. Adding Kyrie to that should be enough. I don't know about you guys. That's my thought on it. I really think Kyrie is completely delusional. I think he's completely delusional. I think he's completely lost it. Dude does not know how to work well with a team. He tried being on his own. It didn't work. Now he has a supporting cast. Still not happy. Will Kyrie ever be happy in a situation? And what are your thoughts on Kyrie's remarks? We'll start with you this time, Ben.
I'm so glad. Okay, listen. All this is cool, but what he's doing is dividing his locker room. If you're gonna call out your team in general and say we need to play better, that's cool. That's a motivation as a leader. I get that. If you're gonna go privately, individually to guys and say you need to step up, you need to start doing this, start doing that as a leader, that's cool. I get that. On social media or even to the media in any regard, if you're gonna say me and this guy need more help, then you're dividing your locker room between the group of guys that you think are good or the guys that you like and the guys that you don't care about. And that's the absolute worst thing for morale and for that team's chemistry. It's gonna kill this team, and it sucks because if he had just, kept his mouth shut and they got KD back next year, this would be a good team. You'd have Kyrie and KD with a bunch of nice complementary pieces. But he's saying, me and this guy, we need help. And he's essentially just, by leaving them out, calling out the other guys on the team. And how do you think they're going to feel about that? Probably not all that well. And another question I have is, even if you're going to do that, you're saying, he said me and Garrett Temple. He included me, KD, DeAndre Jordan, and then he said Karis LeVert, and then he said me and Garrett Temple need help. Like, what is Garrett Temple is averaging 10 points on 36% shooting from the field. 36% shooting is like a I guess so. 36% shooting is like a respectable 3-point average. But that's what he's putting up from the field.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what he thinks he's doing, making these remarks. It's just I was never on that Kyrie hate kind of. I won't call it a bandwagon because I guess it was definitely deserved. But I was never on with Boston or with the Cavs that kind of whole Kyrie is a bad teammate, Kyrie is a bad leader. I just kind of looked at how he is as a player, and I kind of respected, maybe he's not the best teammate, not the best leader, but let's see what he does in Brooklyn. And it just seems to me with this that he can't be happy anywhere. And it's a shame because he's very, very talented. But with this, doing this is just not what you do as a man, as a leader, and as a teammate.
Skill is going to get you nowhere if you can't keep friends. If his teammates are pissed off at him, they're not going to want to pass him the ball. And it shows because they don't want to pass him the ball, and he throws tantrums on the court. Yeah. I'm going to try to contain myself here, guys. Mike, what are your thoughts on Kyrie?
Bottom line, he was wrong for calling out his teammates. I mean, definitely publicly, you should never do that. And keep in mind, this team went, 11-6 without you, 12-6. Yeah. That always seems to be the case, that teams tend to somehow do better when Kyrie is not on the court. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Kyrie. He is a superstar in the league, and we know he's big time and all these things like that. But you can't call your teammates out. You just can't. If you're supposed to be the Kyrie Irving who's getting older, who's maturing as he grows up, then you should already know this was a big mistake you should do, especially for a team that's fighting and still in the playoff chase. They're the 8th seed right now, who's been fighting ever since you've been down. Spencer Dinwiddie's been playing at an all-star level. Everybody's been pulling their weight. And then you've been back, and now you guys have lost 2 games in a row. So, I mean, it's just things to think about growing up. Like, you have to be better than that, especially if you call yourself a leader of this team. And maybe he's not the leader of this team. Maybe the leader will be KD. But right now, in his absence while you're on the court, you have to be a leader not only on the court but off the court. So definitely a bad move by Kyrie. Definitely a chemistry killer. I hope it smooths out and they're able to get past it. But if I was a teammate of his, that would have rubbed me the wrong way. I would have had some words for him.
Yeah, and just real quick, something that a writer for Crown Hoops mentioned when we were talking about this. How are you going to call out your teammates saying that you need help and acting like you're, the best player on the team? The night after, in a loss to the 76ers, you shoot 6 for 21 from the field for 14 points. It just all comes off bad. If you're going to play that bad, put some blame on yourself. It's what a real leader would do. But
so let me ask you guys this: what's the future for Kyrie? Where do you guys see him going? What do you see him doing? Do you think he's going to stay with Brooklyn? Do you think? I don't know. I'm curious what you guys think for that.
Well, let's not overreact. He said it tonight. That doesn't dictate how everything's going to change and he'll leave. Because for all we know, tomorrow he may apologize and everything might smooth over. I think he'll be with Brooklyn for a while. But it kind of depends, like we said earlier, on what kind of KD we get. If they're competitive and him and KD are bonding and the whole team's looking good, then I see him staying. But if not, he'll definitely probably go somewhere else.
Okay. Stacey, what about you? What are your thoughts on Kyrie and his remarks?
time and time again, I sort of defended Kyrie Irving. You know what I'm saying? Give him a chance. You know, he's still growing up and everything. And now here we are faced with this. This it just hit me blindside. Like, Kyrie, what are you doing? What are you doing? You can't. It's some things that you can't do. You can't do that. You can't name off a few players on your roster and leave out everybody else. You down talk them, and then you talking about you need help. This is a good team right here. You just don't have KD right now, and when you have KD, y'all gonna be a title contender. What is going on? Did he even mention Spencer Dinwiddie on this list of players that need help with him?
I'm not sure.
I think he did. I think the only ones he left out were Joe Harris and Jared Allen.
Oh, okay. Well, at least he mentioned that, because if he didn't, then I was like, oh, he must be jealous. It must be some type of jealousy, because Dinwiddie stepped up when Kyrie went down. But this goes to all what I was saying about Kyrie. He is just not a leader. He's not a leader. I've always questioned his leadership, and this just proves to me that I don't think that he's ever going to be an effective leader. I think he's just going to be a baller. We just going to know him as a baller. The leadership, he just needs to leave that to the coach and Kevin Durant. He's proven to me that he cannot run a team. He can't run a team, and the team would not win a championship with Kyrie saying things like this and Kyrie being their de facto leader, or they chose him as the leader. So definitely Kyrie needed definitely take a step back and stay off social media, because it's just weird, and it makes it seem like he's a toxic teammate, and I don't want to label him toxic because we don't know what's going on inside his head for real.
He toxic.
Yeah, toxic. But I'm starting to think maybe he just a little bit toxic, just a little.
It'll keep growing on you. Give it time. I'm just glad that the world's starting to see all of this and not just thinking that Boston was the problem. Oh, that makes me so happy. Welcome to my nightmares from a year ago, guys. Constantly running through my mind. All right, moving on from Kyrie before we all get a little too heated, or before I get too heated. Let's talk some potential trades. Trade season is among us. You know, we're getting closer to that deadline every day. When Woj finally tweets out all of his drafts that he's known about for the past weeks, because nowadays pretty much everyone's going to wait till deadline day. There's no real point of trying to make a trade before that. Bless you.
Thank you.
Some of the trades that we wanted to discuss today, one of them is surrounding D'Angelo Russell. There are a lot of trade rumors that he will be traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves after the recent trade where Jeff Teague was sent to the Atlanta Hawks. Kind of wanted to get your thoughts on a D'Lo trade. Do you think the Warriors will give him up? And what do you think Minnesota can send back to the Warriors to kind of make that value work out? My personal opinion, I don't think the Warriors are going to trade him. I think they desperately need him, especially this season. Next season, I also think that they could find a way to fit him in. I really don't see the Warriors giving him up, and I don't really see what value the Timberwolves could give back to the Warriors to make that happen. But yeah, we'll start with you this time, Stacey.
I knew I was pondering all along that D'Angelo Russell was going to be an eventual trade piece for the Golden State Warriors, as they are in retooling mode this year. This year is a wash. They're not going to do anything. But, next year they're going to have Steph back. They'll have Clay back. And I question the fit of D'Angelo Russell. So I always figured that D'Angelo Russell was going to be a key piece for the Warriors acquiring talent that they need to go on another run. Now, as far as him going to the Timberwolves, I think that the Warriors are hoping to try to get Karl-Anthony Towns, because I heard a couple rumors that Karl-Anthony Towns is not happy with the Minnesota Timberwolves. So maybe this is a way for the Warriors to land him, because they do need front court help. But that's the only thing that I see the Warriors actually want for the Timberwolves. Well, who else do they want on their team? There's not really that many attractive pieces. Jared Culver, maybe? I don't know. But I'm fine with the Warriors trading away D'Lo. I think D'Lo will be a great asset for somebody, and they're going to get a lot back for him. So but the Timberwolves are kind of a weird destination, a weird trading partner, because I don't know what they want for D'Angelo Russell from the Timberwolves. So.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that. You could see them trading Karl-Anthony Towns, and that you said you saw that he didn't seem happy there. Because I was reading something earlier that said that Minnesota is still pretty dead set on rebuilding around Karl-Anthony Towns.
Oh yeah, they definitely.
So I don't know how that's going to work out. Yeah, I don't see Minnesota trading Karl-Anthony Towns, and I don't see the point in that Karl-Anthony Towns for D'Lo or wherever the deal would be. Because if D'Lo comes to Minnesota for Karl-Anthony Towns, in my opinion, that's a worse team than they were. I really don't understand the value of that trade. I mean, it's not going to make them contenders. It's really not going to do anything for them. I don't see the point in it. Ben, what are your thoughts on that?
The one thing to me that would make that trade worth it is you take D'Lo for Karl-Anthony Towns, swap them, and then Golden State sends what would almost certainly be a top 2 pick in this upcoming draft to Minnesota, and they can take whoever they please with that. That could turn into James Wiseman, that could turn into LaMelo Ball, that could turn into Anthony Edwards. Either way, you're going to get, a great young player out of it if you get that pick from Golden State. And honestly, it just hasn't been working out with Karl-Anthony Towns. Send him to Golden State, that would be huge. And then send D'Lo and that big pick, maybe a complimentary piece as well to make it worth it and to make salaries match and whatnot to Minnesota. And I think that would be a trade that could work out for both sides, but we'll have to see. I think, honestly, at this point, I would say trade Andrew Wiggins, but Andrew Wiggins has very little trade value at this point in his career. So I think the only trade that would make sense to me is Cat for D'Lo and their number 1 overall or number 2 overall, whatever they get.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely makes sense to me for at least Minnesota. I don't think the Warriors would do that, though. I mean, you look at the Warriors' previous successes in the draft. That's how they built their team. They built their team through the draft. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. They've had success drafting. I don't know why they would give that up, especially when they're pretty much guaranteeing themselves a top 2 player, probably.
I mean, they want to win in a hurry next year. They want to get back to their winning race.
Player, I think he would be huge for them. I think you get Steph, Klay, Draymond, and Cat. That's very similar to your Steph, Klay, Draymond, KD.
Yeah, it's going to depend on, what outlook they want. Do they want a win now, or do they want win now and possibly for the future as well? I mean, I think Steph, Klay, and Draymond is enough to get you pretty deep in the playoffs. You add on Eric Pascal, and then if you keep that pick, you can get James Wiseman.
Yeah.
That's a good team. It depends on... I also forget that Karl-Anthony Towns is still... Yeah, I mean, all possibilities. I think it could work out for both sides. Mike, what about you?
I think this is a trade that the Timberwolves want desperately to happen, but I don't think the Warriors are going to pull the trigger. If I'm them, I'm holding on to D'Angelo Russell. Right now, they have the worst record in the NBA. I'm seeing where the ping pong balls lay. And if I get that first pick, maybe I pair it and maybe get a better deal, maybe get someone better than Karl-Anthony Towns. I know they're saying they might want to go after Giannis in about, what is he, a free agent next year? Next year,
I think,
yeah.
So, I mean, who knows what you could do with that? I think you wait until the draft lottery, see where you land. Whatever trade Minnesota might want will be there later, because I don't see them making a move with anyone else. So there's no point in rushing it. You might be able to use that first pick to, like you said, draft someone who may be able to help you immediately next year, like a James Wiseman or Anthony Edwards. They could use another wing player, something like that. Or you can hold on to it and you can pair it with D'Lo and bring in more talented players, maybe some more veterans to kind of replace that feel of strength and numbers that the Warriors used to have before they traded for KD. So now I think they're going to hold on to D'Lo, let them play out the rest of the season, let their guys heal up, possibly have a top 3 pick in this year's draft, and then wait to see what happens in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I think it's going to fall too. But at the same time, Minnesota needs to get rid of Karl-Anthony Towns. They're not a contending team by any means.
Right.
Literally all they have is Karl-Anthony Towns. I don't know what they're going to do with him. I don't know what they're expecting from him. Let this guy go. Like, you're basically holding him hostage at this point.
Well, yeah, they're just trying to keep a star there, which is why they want this trade to happen. They would love to get D'Lo. Him and Karl Anthony Towns are friends that could convince him to stay. But, I mean, no one wants to go to Minnesota, man.
It's too cold.
It kind of gives me very big, like, Karl Anthony Towns. That situation gives me very big
Free Ja.
Pelicans and
AD.
Pelicans and AD vibes, yeah.
I got you.
AD was there for a good 7 seasons. They didn't really do anything. Cat's been there for, 5 seasons now. They haven't really done anything, so.
Jahlil Okafor, remember him?
Oh.
Free Ja.
Where is he at right now? Pelicans, yeah.
Pelicans. He got free and didn't do much with it. Next player we want to talk about potential trades, Andre Drummond of the Detroit Pistons. His name has been floating around a lot with the Celtics and a couple other teams. If I'm Detroit, I'm holding on to him. I think they have a good team. I think they'd be stupid to let him go. But what are your thoughts on Drummond? Is he going to get traded before the deadline? And what are some potential suitors for him? Start with you this time, Ben.
I think Detroit at this point is not in as good of a position as some people thought they would be before the season started. So trading Drummond, depending on the return package, would probably be worth it. You're not going to do anything with this team. You're not going to make any sort of deep playoff run. So the names that have been mentioned are the Celtics, the Raptors, and I've just heard that the Hawks ended trade talks with Detroit about Drummond. So if you're looking at the Celtics and the Raptors and, a couple other teams around the league, if you got some good young talent, then trading Drummond would be worth it. Because he's been there for a long, long time, and they have not done anything in the long, long time that he's been there. So at this point, similarly to Cat in Minnesota, it might be time to move on, get a fresh start for everyone involved. So wherever they trade him, and I think the Celtics could really use a big like Drummond. I think the Raptors could really use a big like Drummond, depending on the health and play of Marc Gasol. And in your case, depending on how your center situation is working out with Tice and Williams and Canner with that whole situation. But I think for whoever gets him, Drummond would be an upgrade at center for both playoff contenders. So we'll see what happens. But I think it'd be wise of Detroit to trade Drummond, and I think it could work out as a win-win situation depending on where he goes. Yeah,
I get what you're saying, but I just feel like Drummond is it's weird to call him a unique player nowadays when you look back into like the older days of the NBA. He's a true big. There aren't many of those left in the NBA where, his job is to get boards, get putbacks. He can't shoot. I feel like nowadays in the NBA, that's a requirement.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw there was a graphic going around on Twitter lately of a shot chart from the past 3 years and then the past 20 years. Past 3 years, it was all beyond the arc and a little bit inside the paint. The past 20 years, aside from the past 3, it was like all within the 3-point, like mid-range and inside.
Yeah.
I just don't know how Drummond is gonna, especially with the Celtics, where literally everyone on that court can shoot a 3. Maybe not.
It's kind of beneficial in that sense, in my opinion. You got a big guy inside, and he's got space all around him. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah, I just feel like it's gonna be tough for Drummond to fit in somewhere. Stacey, what about you?
I agree with Ben. It's just time to break it up. It's just time to end the relationship. It's not going anywhere. They need to get Drummond out of there, and I think Drummond need a fresh start. I heard about his lack of motivation to play for the Detroit Pistons early on this year, and that's an indication that it's just time to go. As far as where he's going to go, the first team that came to mind was the Boston Celtics, because I do think they need somebody big, somebody grab some rebounds, somebody on the defensive end. We know Cantor is not going to get it done for him.
He's a bum. So, don't even get me started.
he's not going to get it done for him. But my thing about the Boston Celtics is who are they willing to give up to bring in Drummond, who's a very good player, can get 15 and 15. So who they're going to give up? Because I will imagine that the Detroit Pistons want somebody that a young player that they can build off of, keep on building off of. But that's the only question. But they the only team that came to mind to me was the Boston Celtics, and they the ones that make sense for Andre Drummond.
Yeah, I think for the Celtics, they'd be willing to give up any of their rookies this year except for Grant Williams. Romeo Langford, Tremont Waters, Carson Edwards, Taco Fall, if Detroit would have any interest in him, and possibly some picks. We still have a Memphis pick, which obviously is declining in value as Memphis is becoming a better team. I would see a package of rookies, maybe some picks. But other than that, like you said, Stacey, there's not many players on the Celtics you can trade. I mean, if you take Marcus Smart's personality away and it was just his stats, I'm sure they'd be fine getting rid of him. You could not take Marcus Smart out of Boston. The city would riot. So that's not happening. It's a tough situation. Who do you trade on that team? Maybe Gordon Hayward, but not for Drummond. I'm not doing that for Drummond.
Robert Williams.
I like Robert Williams a lot, so I want to keep him. But
he'd probably be the piece.
Yeah, I feel like Robert Williams is a younger version of Andre Drummond with better shot blocking. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah. And he's still got his young knees.
Yeah,
I would love to see Williams get more minutes. I mean, maybe you throw Tyson a package, give Detroit a center back. I think the Celtics will keep Williams. They were pretty high on him. Who hasn't gone yet, Mike?
Yeah, I haven't gone.
Mike, yeah. It's hard to remember sometimes. I go out of order all the time.
Nah, it's all good. When it comes to the Pistons, I mean, with Blake Griffin hurt again, Drummond is your only piece you can move to really get better other than Derrick Rose. So, I mean, trade him. I mean, I agree with both of you guys. The one thing, and I've said it repeatedly, that I have worries about the Celtics is the big man position. Well, this will sure him up there. He gets rebounds. You have shooters everywhere. Like you said, Ben, they could spread the floor out. He'd be great. He's a double-double machine. I'd like to see him out of Detroit and see if he could play some meaningful basketball. Even your Raptors. I mean, Marc Gasol is getting older. He's not rebounding at the level he used to, but he's still decent. And then your only other big, I believe, is Ibaka, and he's not the defender that he used to be, even though he's been playing okay this year. So Drummond would come in and shore up the defense. So I would like to see him get out of Detroit. I think Detroit is definitely looking to rebuild at this point. And whether it be the Celtics or the Raptors, I would like to see him with either one.
Okay. Next up on the potential trade targets, we have Kevin Love with the Cleveland Cavaliers. That's a tough situation. Kevin Love loves Cleveland. It's weird saying Kevin Love loves. Loves Cleveland. He loves all of his teammates there, except for one incident. One incident that went viral. I'm sure you guys have all seen the video.
With Colin Sexton.
He was done with Colin Sexton that game with all the dribbling. But he instantly apologized over a tweet. Said he loves his teammates and all that. I really don't see him leaving Cleveland personally. But yeah, we'll get your thoughts on Kevin Love. If they do trade him, where are they going to send him to? What are they going to get back? Start with you this time, Mike.
Kevin Love is a tricky situation just because of his contract and kind of what Cleveland's looking for and what other teams are acquiring. I think he does end up getting traded, though, because Cleveland's definitely bought into the whole rebuild thing. I would like to see him go to a team like the Mavericks or maybe the Thunder, something like that. Actually, I like the Thunder more. Give them another shooter on the outside, someone Chris Paul can dish the ball to on the outside, and he gets them rebounds. Everybody keeps saying the Blazers, but I don't really think they need him, and I don't think he plays good enough defense to join an already bad defensive team when you have Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and Carmelo Anthony in your starting lineup. I mean, granted, you have Whiteside back there protecting the rim, but he's not the best defender in the league either, even though he's averaging, I think, top 5 in blocks right now. But, yeah, that's the only two places I can really see him going. Hey, for all we know, he might end up staying in Cleveland just because they can't find a suitor.
No, I like what you said about Memphis, though. I would like that. Not Memphis, sorry, Dallas Mavericks.
Dallas, yeah.
I would like that fit. I mean, I've been saying I think they're one piece away. That may be it. I mean, you put Luka with Porzingis and Kevin Love. That's a good trio right there. I could see that happening. Question is, what would the Cavs want from Dallas? That would be my thought there. They don't really have much. You ain't gonna give him Seth Curry.
That's
Sure,
true. Yeah, Seth Curry.
It's Seth Curry.
Oh yeah, Tim Hardaway is definitely the first man up. He's
Oh yeah.
But
He's
his
first
contract is bad.
Yeah.
So we're talking about bad contracts.
It would fit.
Just
It would
swap
fit.
bad contracts.
Yeah, they probably throw in a pick too, but yeah. Stacey, what are your thoughts about K-Love?
I think he's going to get traded eventually, but it is a tough thing because, like Mike brought up, that contract is just too big to take on, and I always question why he signed that deal to stay with the Cavaliers. After Kyrie and LeBron left, like, wow, really, you want to stay here? But okay, well,
money talks.
money talks. Right. Suitors for Kevin Love. I agree with Dallas Mavericks. They definitely need another player there. I imagine that the Cavaliers will want somebody like Tim Hardaway back, or Dwight Powell, Dory, Finney-Smith, something like that. They can fill in with the young roster. Here we go again. The Boston Celtics could be a good destination for them.
Not for that contract.
I don't know, but I mean, for a while, there was rumor to try to land Kevin Love for a while, so maybe now is the time to do it. He's still a double-double machine. He still give you at least 20, 10, 18, 10, something like that.
To make a match, I think we need to ditch Hayward, though, because Hayward's on a huge contract, too.
Well, yeah. I think the Celtics willing to take that risk, they'll do it. Like, they still have Brown and Tatum, so not much is going to change. Not much going to change for real, but
Ben has me laughing because he keeps drinking orange juice out of a carton. I keep laughing at that.
I live by myself, more or less. I can do whatever I want with this orange juice.
Vitamin C, baby. All right. Anyway, Ben, what are your thoughts on Kevin Love?
And I'm just so thirsty. I don't want to go get water and interrupt our recording. So this is the only thing I had in my fridge. So
it works.
Anyway, I think I really like what Mike said about Dallas. I think that, like all you guys said, is the piece that could put them over the top. KP's been injured lately, and he hasn't been playing like New York Porzingis so far this season, but he's been a good piece next to Luka, who's been absolutely taking over. And I think if you throw in Kevin Love, who's a good shooter, and just a good all-around, stretch four piece type guy, I think that could really put them over the top. And, they're already kind of in that top tier of the West conversation, just beneath the Lakers and the Clippers. They're kind of in that Rockets, Jazz type area. But I think if you add Kevin Love to that, depending on who they give up, and obviously Luka and KP are untouchable, so that trio, I think, could put them in the kind of Lakers-Clippers conversation. I'm not sure if that will happen. One trade idea that I saw that's kind of interesting is Cavs send Kevin Love to the Phoenix Suns.
I haven't seen that.
And I'm not sure who would be involved in that trade from the Suns' perspective, but obviously Devin Booker's untouchable, and DeAndre Ayton, I'm pretty sure, would be untouchable.
Right.
So even that trio there would be kind of interesting to look at, and you could give up, any number of your young guys, Mikal Bridges. I'm kind of blanking on Suns players right now in terms of trade.
Kelly Oubre.
Oubre. Cavs definitely gonna want Oubre.
Yeah, that's true. So it'll be interesting to see wherever he goes, because I think he'll be an instant contributor, and hopefully he can find himself on a playoff contender. But like Mike said, he might not go anywhere just because he has a huge contract. So he doesn't have, the best trade value in the league. And even like Jordan said, maybe he wants to stay in Cleveland. So we'll see.
What about teams like Atlanta and Memphis?
Memphis would be kind of interesting. I don't think he would help Atlanta out of the basement at all this season. But, maybe in seasons to come, that would be interesting for Atlanta.
Yeah, I feel like you pairing him with the younger talent that's a little bit better than what he has now.
Yeah. I mean, you got Trey, Kevin Huerter.
I don't like him on a young team. I don't like
really?
a young team.
Yeah, I'm with that.
So you want him on a contender?
It would have to be a contender or a team that's like, could use like maybe one more person middle of the pack type of team. Like throw him on like, I was gonna say like the Pacers, but that type of team, like that 4 through 6 kind of seed team.
Okay.
I don't want to see him on a young team. Apparently, he don't like young guys.
That's the thing, man. Last but not least, for this part of the show at least, Al Horford signed in Philly, broke Boston's heart this offseason. They were taking pictures like Boston did 2 years ago when we got Hayward and Kyrie. Everyone's calling them the last year's version of the Celtics. They had high hopes. They have a stacked roster. And it's just not working with Al Horford. Al Horford has made comments that he doesn't like his role enough. He's not getting a good enough chance to contribute on the team. Obviously, he's next to Joel Embiid. And it's kind of interesting because that's kind of what he wanted. He wanted to finally play the 4. That he was stuck playing the 5 in Boston all those years, where his real position's the power forward. He's a 4. He finally is getting that position. He's not really a fan of it. Now, obviously, it's very clear that him in Philadelphia is just not a good fit at all. This is a move that I definitely see happening before the deadline, getting Al Horford out of Philly. Question is, where does he go to? We'll start with you this time, Stacey.
Yeah, when they signed Al Horford in free agency, I was like, why? Like,
I think it was to slap us in the face, personally.
yeah. And even then, you wasting your time because he don't fit with Embiid. He don't fit well, and he got what he asked for. He want to play the 4. Now look, you be careful what you ask for. As the old saying goes. But I think Philly should try to move him out, try to get some bench players. They definitely gonna need some bench players. Where he's gonna go exactly, I mean, I know. Well, I'm guessing that he wants to go to a contender. I don't think he wants to go backwards. But what contender needs Al Horford that can give Philly some? Are you thinking the Boston Celtics here?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they definitely gonna need some bench players back for Al Horford. But I don't know where he's gonna go from. Back to Boston does sound good, but I don't know if he's gonna do that. But I don't know. Maybe
He would come back in a heartbeat, man.
Yeah, that's probably the one team that he's like, all right, I'll go. But
people else in Boston literally call him Dad.
What?
Oh.
He's like Boston's father figure. We loved him here, dude. Weird Celtics Twitter was all about Horford. Let me tell you, all the Photoshop pictures I've seen of. Have you seen the picture? There's like a picture of Al Horford holding his kid walking onto a plane before a game. Mm-hmm. The amount of Photoshop pictures I've seen with Al Horford and a Philadelphia 76ers player's face photoshopped onto his kid. It's usually Ben Simmons. Weird Celtics Twitter is a thing, guys.
Okay, I have seen that.
Weird Celtics Twitter is a thing. If you haven't looked at it, WCT for the win. Anyways, way off track now. Sorry, I'm just getting in the moment. I love Al Horford, guys. Mike, where's Al Horford going?
That's actually a tough question. I was sitting here scrubbing the standings to see who could use a big. And the only 2 teams I could think of that could probably use another big or maybe a versatile big like him, even though I hate to say this because I would never want to see them get better, but the Clippers could use a big like that, someone who could protect the rim, someone who could play defense. Zubac is good in the post, but he's not as good at guarding people on the perimeter. Al Horford, plug him in. He can switch out guard bigs like that. They could use something like that. I was also looking at, and look, it's a little weird, but the Bucks. I think the Bucks could use Al Horford. He's another guy who can knock down the 3. He could play stretch 4 for them. At times when Giannis takes the break, then you can drop Al Horford down in the paint, and he's shown he can score from down there when he's given opportunity. And I think he would get a lot of opportunity with the Bucks because they pretty much share. I mean, Giannis gets the bulk of the points, but they share the ball a lot. You never know who their second scorer is going to be. Sometimes it's Middleton, but sometimes it's Eric Bledsoe or Brook Lopez for a night. So those are the 2 teams I think could really use him to the best of his abilities. But looking at the rest of the league, everybody's pretty much shored up at the big spot, and I don't think Boston can trade back for him, so I can't say them.
Okay, so first off, He better not go to Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, that would
Keep
be
his
crazy.
ass out of Milwaukee. No.
That would be insane.
No. Second off, he could go back to Boston. For what I'm pretty sure, because he signed with Philly. If he was traded, I don't know. I have to do more research on that, but I don't think there would be a reason why he couldn't be traded back to Boston.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, would y'all want to retrade back for Horford? You think y'all would do that?
Yo, hear me out, right? What if
Oh God.
conspiracy time? What if this was the plan all along? Brad Stevens, hey Al, go to Philly, self-destruct them.
Oh my gosh.
Goes to Philly. Look at them now. They are trash, and we'll get more into that later in this episode. They're trash. All right, coach, did my job. Time to come back to Boston. All right, bet. Let me send some rookies and some picks. We'll get you back. Back in Boston, wins a ring. 2020 is our year.
Nah. Nah. Unfortunately, I think Horford's gonna end. He might end up somewhere in the West, though. I think Philly's gonna trade him west. I just don't know where.
Dude, I could see it happening. We literally still have billboards of Al Horford in our city, right? So I drive to Boston every day. I'm on 93. Anyone that's in New England knows what that is. Drive 93. There are literally billboards of Al Horford with his chocolate milk company still.
Chocolate milk company? What?
Yeah, he's like a spokesperson for like a chocolate milk company.
Of course he is.
Yeah, great guy. Literally still billboards of him in the city. He could come back like he's never gone, but we'll take him back. We'll embrace him. He's our father.
Okay.
Come back, Al. Come back. Ben, thoughts on Al Horford? Where's he going?
I'm so glad I got to go last because I'm going to be completely straight up right now. I had no idea when you first asked the question. I was like, please do not ask me first. I'm going to piggyback off of Mike right now. I think the Clippers would be a great spot for Al Horford. They've got Montrezl Harrell at the center. He's a solid piece. But let's be real. Montrezl Harrell is what, 6'8"?
Yeah.
Not big, yeah.
He'll have a tough time guarding Anthony Davis for 7 games.
Say it again, Ben. Say it again.
He'll have really tough time guarding Anthony Davis in a 7-game series. So I think put Al Horford there. He's a solid defensive presence. He can, spread the floor if you want, knock down the three, but he can also post up. He would be a great complementary piece to that already very impressive lineup with Lou Will. I could see them trading Patrick Beverley, young pieces.
They got Harkless back there. They got some other people. Zubac, he can go.
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see what happens there, but I really think that the Clippers could benefit from that trade, and it would just all be up to what they can offer the 76ers to want that. But honestly, at this point, Al Horford isn't doing all that much for the Sixers, so they might let him go for less than he deserves. We'll see.
They get some bench depth. I think they'd jump on it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But that's kind of no. We do have one more potential, and I use that word very, very lightly. Trade target, but that's gonna come up next in our next segment, hosted by Ben. We got the hot take segment. Take it away, Ben.
First of all, I'm glad to be back doing hot takes. It's been a minute. We'll get right into it. First one is, I just read this recently that an anonymous Western Conference general manager claims that he would have taken John Morant over Zion Williamson if his team had the first pick in the 2019 NBA draft. And that's coming from, like I said, Yahoo. So, assuming there's full truth to that statement, how do you feel about that GM's basketball knowledge? Mike, I'll start with you.
So it's not super crazy to hear this. It's not super crazy. Look, if I'm a GM and maybe I'm looking at Zion Williamson as the freak athlete he is, I see he's kind of big. He might be injury prone. He's already busted out of a shoe in college. He's had some knee problems. Maybe I need a point guard. Then in that instance, I can understand it. But if you're that GM, if Zion pans out, can you live with being the GM that didn't take a chance on Zion Williamson, who could be quote unquote, the next phenom, the next guy in the NBA. That's what you got to weigh. You got to weigh those pros and cons. Can you take that criticism if Zion Williamson pans out, or if Ja Morant doesn't pan out? Now, Ja Morant is, as we can see, he has his team in the playoff chase. He's amazing. He's scoring. He's talking shit to Harden. I love it. Ja Morant's been doing his thing, but you just never know. You don't want to be that guy who missed out. You don't want to be that guy who didn't take Jordan.
So the way it looks, I'm glad you mentioned Jordan, because how it looks to me is that, Jordan was picked third. Hakeem Olajuwon, who we all know was picked first in that draft by the Houston Rockets. Hakeem, to this day, is looked at as one of the best centers of all time, right, in that kind of conversation with Kareem and Shaq. So for me, it could be this kind of situation where you pass on Zion, which sucks, but no one really blames you because you took Ja Morant, who in his own right could pan out to be a generational talent. But at the same time, if it goes like you were saying, it could go where Ja doesn't pan out and Zion really does pan out, then yeah, it would look really bad on this GM. But Stacey, do you think this is a reasonable take from this GM?
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable take from the GM. Getting Ja Morant is a great talent. He is a great talent. He was a double machine at Murray State, and he was just as talented of a prospect as Zion Williamson. The only difference to me, the big difference to me between the two, is Zion has more money attached to his name. He's more marketable. You want to market Zion. Zion's going to bring in ratings and everything. Ja Morant, he came from, Murray State versus Zion coming from Duke. So, that's less marketable. But, Ja Morant, I picked him to win Rookie of the Year, even if Zion was healthy the whole time. Wow. Just because I see him as a franchise player, and he's proven that so far with the Memphis Grizzlies. Got them right there in the AC and in the ticket things. Now it's remains to be seen if they can stay there for the long haul. But I don't think this is a bad take from that GM at all. Like I would have a battle at least between Zion and Ja Morant. I think those two are head and shoulders above the rest of the draft class.
Yeah, that's fair. Jordan, what do you think?
So I know you said it's anonymous, but I can tell you right now who that was. Without a doubt in my mind, that was the New York Knicks. That is such a New York Knicks move. Tell me that's not the New York Knicks.
Nah, I don't think it's the Knicks.
An anonymous Western Conference general manager would have taken.
Oh, it was Western Conference.
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Let me tell you. If that was Eastern Conference, it would have been the Knicks. Especially with Stacey was talking about like marketability. That's what the Knicks run on. That's how they make their money. They don't care if they win or lose. They're going to make money. Zion would have brought in millions of dollars on merchandise, apparel, all that.
Yeah.
So if it was Eastern Conference, now I just look stupid because you said Western Conference and it's literally right there in the notes. But I said what I said. It happened.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. To be fair.
But yeah, I don't know. When Stacey said that Ja Morant was going to win Rookie of the Year, I didn't argue it too much. I could have seen it happen. And Ja Morant's going a ball. But if anyone in their right mind at the time of the draft was going to take anyone over Zion at number 1, I would have called them crazy outright. Like, no, you don't do that. That's not only going to piss off your fans completely. You would have lost all public support if you don't take Zion at 1. At the time, when he had that much hype coming off that crazy season at Duke, you would have been dumb stupid to not take Zion at 1. So I believe this guy. No, I don't believe this guy's telling the truth.
He's just saying it now to kind of cover his tracks.
Yeah, he wants to look good.
Yeah.
If he was so confident in it, we wouldn't be seeing anonymous GM. He would have came out with his name and said it.
Yeah.
Him not saying his name shows he doesn't trust his own opinion, or he's talking crap, which is my personal opinion.
Yeah.
No, at the time, no. The Zion hype was unreal. Do you guys remember? We talked about this on the podcast. A fake autographed potato. Someone wrote the letter ZW. Potato on a potato. Sold on eBay for like $50,000. It was titled Zion's Lucky Potato. I still have a screenshot of that on my phone. It was hysterical. The hype
That's a
was
shame.
unreal.
Imagine having $50,000 to spend on a potato, though. Good for him.
I'm so
Good for
curious if
them,
that sale
whoever
went
bought
through.
it. Yeah,
I'm
good
so curious if that sale went through.
I hope not. That's the
Like, do you have to finance that to buy a potato? Like, can you imagine going to a bank and be like, listen, it's about a
Listen, here's the
$50,000
thing.
potato. Like,
who has a lucky potato though? Like
Oh,
of all the
Not-
things you can have.
not Zion Williams.
Not Zion.
That's
the picture was so funny. It was like the picture of the potato, and then the second picture was like Zion Williamson dribbling a basketball with like a photoshopped potato, and like they didn't even remove the white background from the picture from Google, just sitting in the back. $50,000. All right, man, we keep sidetracking tonight, but it's just too funny not to.
Yeah,
But that was just to prove my point. Like the hype on Zion, unreal.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I agree. Like, I don't know if this guy's telling the truth at all. So the kind of how much I trust this is it's up in the air. But we'll move on to our next hot take. Mike, as our resident Lakers fan, we'll start with you. Stephen A. Smith. And I feel like we can always get some hot takes from ESPN.
He makes
especially
our
from
job
Stephen
easy.
A. Yeah. Said on First Take, and I'm laughing because I feel like Stephen A. knows about basketball. But this is what he said. He said the Lakers should trade Kyle Kuzma for Devin Booker in a straight swap. I just want to know, Mike, do you think your team could pull that off? Do you think Rob Pelinka could pull off Kuzma for Booker in a straight swap?
Well, look, I tell you what, if Rob Pelinka, the day Rob Pelinka pulled that off, promote him all, he could be the owner. I mean, if he could bamboozle the Suns like that. First off, Stephen A., this ain't 2K. You can't just go to Trade Finder, put Kuzma in, and you go get a bunch of options, all right? Now, first off, the money wouldn't match up. Now, look, I like Stephen A.'s vision. I love it. I love what he sees for our team. He's also said that we should somehow try to trade for Bradley Beal, which I agree on. But a 1-for-1 swap, Kuzma is not at Devin Booker's level in the league. He hasn't built that kind of status in the league yet. He's definitely not on Bradley Beal's level. Impossible. Stephen A., I love the vision, man, but it's not going to happen like that. It's not going to go down like that.
Jordan, what do you think?
Nah. Like, what is she doing, Stephen A? Like, come on, man. Like, yeah, like Mike said, the money wouldn't match. Like, why? Even Danny Ainge couldn't pull that off. Like,
Even
no.
Masai couldn't pull that off.
Yeah, don't even get me started. You saying Masai could pull off a better trade than Danny Ainge? Trader Danny himself?
DeMar DeRozan and Jakob Poeltl for Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green.
Ooh, we don't got time to get into this right now, Ben, but
Yeah, we
I'm going
don't.
to mark this down for next episode. And you best believe I'm coming at you
All right.
full force right now.
Okay.
I'm writing this down right now. Oh, yeah.
Go for it.
I don't even know how to spell his name, but it's going to
Messiah.
happen.
You just called him the Messiah. That's what I'm saying. He's godly.
I don't know how to spell his name, guys. My bad. But anyways, no. Absolutely not. I don't know what he was talking about. I remember he tweeted a video the next day kind of explaining that he wasn't saying it's a trade that could happen. He's just saying it's a trade that should happen, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
So that's
I think
a weak effort to cover his tracks.
let me tell you, this man, Stephen A., he may know sports, but his job is not to know sports. His job is not to talk reasonable sports. His job is to get views, get clicks for the company.
Yeah.
How much money do you think this brought it on clicks and AdSense and revenue?
Oh, plenty.
Oh, yeah. So he's doing his job. Props to you, Stephen A. But as usual, stay off the weed, Stephen A.
Stay off the weed.
Yeah, he set himself up for that one.
He did. He really did. Anyway, Stacey, how do you feel about this potential trade?
There's no potential in it. This is a horrible. This is a horrible idea. Like, you think the Suns are really that low, that dumb to pull this off? First of all, Kyle Kuzma not even playing that good. So I don't even know I don't even know if he even has that type of value where you can bring in Devin Booker straight up. And the Suns are not giving up Devin Booker. They just gave him an extension not too long ago. They not giving him up. Why would they do that to themselves? They got Monty Williams in. They played good in the beginning of the year. They have potential the next 5 years. They're not gonna do that at all. That's terrible by Stephen A. I don't know what he was trying to do other than what Jordan said, try to get some clicks in for ESPN. Maybe they was having a slow couple days before and they needed something, but it was just a terrible take. It's just terrible.
I agree 100%. This is really a joke. But that was our last hot take, so we're gonna move on to Mike, who's going to talk a little bit about KD and his takes in the league so far.
Yes, sir. So KD put out there the top 5 toughest to guard NBA players, according to KD. So this is according to KD. This is the top 5 people toughest to guard. So let me know what you guys think. First, LeBron James, the freight train himself, Sweet Lou Will from the Clippers, Joel Embiid, PG-13, and Kawhi Leonard. So I'll start with you first, Jordan. What do you think about his list? What is your first reactions to it?
So my first thing that stands out is Lou Williams on that list. You got 4 guys next to him that are perennial all-stars. And then Lou Will. Obviously I'm not an NBA player. I don't defend these guys for a living, so I'm not really sure. But I have seen his name come up on others' lists before. I know Marcus Smart did a list last year, and Lou Will was first on that list. But it's just crazy to see Lou Williams' name on a list with literally, arguably 4 of the best in the league right now. That's what blows my mind about it. But I definitely understand it. I definitely respect it. I'm trying to think if there's anyone on there that, like. And KD on Embiid, like all these other guys are small forwards, and then it's just Embiid. Yeah. Like
I don't know if KD is really guarding Embiid that much in a game situation.
Yeah, I mean Embiid's soft, so I mean KD should have no problem.
Oh.
Might go to someone else now.
Well, what I will say about Lou Will is, man, you gotta remember Lou Will's a hooper. He draws a lot of fouls. I think he's led the league in 4-point plays one year. He's quick. He's shifty. I mean, KD is like what? What does they come out his real height? 6'9", 6'10"?
He updated it, but he's still definitely 7.
I think they're calling him 6'10".
6'10"?
Just based on looking at that picture of him next to DeMarcus Cousins, I'm calling him 7 feet, 7'1". But hey,
right?
Who
he
knows?
Definitely looks taller than him. I mean, just imagine him trying to guard 6 foot, maybe 2 or 3 Lou Will as fast and shifty as is. Like I can easily see how he made this list. What about you, Ben? What do you think about it?
It's like you guys said. It's of course you're gonna have your LeBrons. And Kawhi has over the past few years become one of the toughest players in the league to guard. PG-13, of course. And then you see guys like Lou Will and Embiid. It's kind of interesting because I can't see KD matched up on Embiid all that much in a game situation. So maybe he's talking from watching his past centers having to guard Embiid, or maybe he has guarded Embiid in the past. I mean, their heights do kind of match up. I mean, Embiid's was dropped and KD's was raised in this past height change collection that the league did. And then, yeah, like you said, Lou Will's like 6'3", 6'4". So that would be an interesting matchup as well. I like his list, though. I mean, like Jordan said, Lou Will is kind of a star, a legend in the NBA in his own right with, all of his 6 Man of the Year awards. But you're seeing him next to Hall of Famers. And it's, to be decided whether Lou will be a Hall of Famer or not. But definitely not first ballot, I don't think. But, we'll see about that. But I think it's cool that that's what Lou Will does, is Lou Will scores. And he scores, better than most of the people in the league, according to this list and Marcus Smart's list. So I think it's cool. I love it when players do this as well. I think it's cool to get player insight, especially a defender like KD, on who the toughest people in the league are to guard.
Right, yeah, I would have to agree. And look, y'all killing Embiid. Let me show Embiid some love. I think Embiid probably has the best footwork as a big man since Who knows? Who knows? I mean, when you look at the way he's able to draw fouls, I think he's top 5 in fouls drawn. He hits free throws. He can hit a mid-range jumper. He definitely shoots the three, even though I think he shoots it too much. He definitely can shoot the three ball. He can put the ball on the floor. I mean, I could easily see why he made this lift if we're just talking toughest to guard one-on-one. But what do you think, Stacey? What do you think about the list?
I think it's a solid list. I think a lot of people have Lou Will on their list as a tough person to guard. Like you said, he balls out, and I'm not surprised by that. I'm guessing this is the list KD made from him guarding somebody personally, and also what he's seen his teammates do against these players defensively. So, but I was kind of shocked that he didn't include Giannis and AD on this list. Maybe he didn't guard them enough. Maybe he ain't seen them enough. But, those two players are tough to guard in the NBA as well. So I was kind of surprised that they weren't on this list. But I like the list, though. Those are like the toughest players in the NBA to guard one-on-one. So it's pretty solid.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Giannis, I guess it is. I don't know. I the way the Raptors handled Giannis last year, maybe that had a little bit to go into it. You can kind of neutralize him if you knock him off his spot, which is hard to do. Don't get me wrong, but force him to shoot more. Maybe you'll have some success. AD's interesting though, because I'm seeing full force what AD's about this year now that he's on the Lakers. Go Lakers, and like he's definitely a lot to guard too. But I would have to agree with you. So, anyways, that's all we got for this segment. Now we're moving on to the game of the week with Stacey.
All right, the game of the week. What game is it going to be? We're going to fast forward to Saturday, January 18th. It's going to be the Los Angeles Lakers against the Houston Rockets. Why is this game of the week? First of all, this is the first wave of action between these two teams. These two teams are top 5 in the West, and then you got star talent. Between both these teams, you got the backcourt of Russ and James Harden going against KCP and Avery Bradley, two good defenders for the Lakers. How are they going to do? Can they dominate them in the backcourt offensively? And also, Clint Capella, he's going to have to deal with those monsters in the front court. AD, JaVale McGee, Dwight Howard, all three who's up there in shots blocked in the NBA. Can he stay the course and can he rebound on them? Then, of course, you got LeBron James. There's no bigger ticket than LeBron James. This could be a possible NBA playoff Western Conference matchup between these two teams. If the Rockets get their stuff together, then they could probably go to the Western Conference Finals. You don't know. They have that potential, but this is a big Western showdown, and I'm looking forward to this game. I want to see what Harden can do. I want to see can LeBron dominate the Rockets. I want to see what AD do against the Rockets because he's going up against Clint Capella, who can block shots and rebound as well. So this is a big game. Let's start with Mike. What you think about this game?
Well, first off, go Lakers. We always got to start with that. It's going to be a good game. This game could go one of two ways. The Lakers have a lot of advantages inside. Houston's not a very large team. They have Capella, yes, but like you said, Stacey, Dwight Howard, JaVale McGee, AD, we've got plenty of guys to be able to contend, and we should easily win the rebound battle. But it'll come down to, are the Houston Rockets making shots, and are the Lakers going to defend the three-point line, something they've had a problem with this year. If you don't defend the three-point line against Houston and you give them enough shots, after a while, they're going to start to drop. And since they're at home, I think there's a higher chance of that. But I'm still going to take the Lakers. I think they have no answer for AD. I mean, who are you going to put on them? Capella, maybe the Rockets. The Rockets are going to be forced to go big. They're probably going to have to play Hartenstein off the bench. And I just don't think he's ready for the physicality that the Lakers are going to bring. Also, one thing that I think the Rockets are missing, which we'll see depending on what LeBron James we get, is a wing defender, someone who can guard LeBron. James Harden, he's better defensively this year, but he can't guard LeBron. Russell Westbrook, he can't guard LeBron. I feel like the Lakers have people, Danny Green, KCP, Avery Bradley. You're not going to stop Harden and Westbrook, but they can make it tough on them. I don't really feel like the Rockets have anybody outside of PJ Tucker who can make things tough on LeBron, especially AD. So I'm going to take the Lakers on the road in a close one. I'm going to go 118-115.
Yep. Close game.
Yeah, close game though. Close game. Harden gonna ball out.
Yeah, Jordan, what you think about this game?
I'm gonna take Lakers by 15.
Woo! I like it, Jordan. What's up? Yeah.
I just think the Lakers are a lot deeper. In terms of roster strength. A couple of things you guys mentioned as well. Houston just doesn't really have the defense to contain any of them. They're a very offense-oriented team, and the Lakers, I believe, have the tools to at least contain them offensively. On defense, they're going to be absolutely screwed. There's way too many weapons on the Lakers for them to contain, and Houston is really not known as a good defensive team. Obviously, like you guys mentioned, Harden has improved. And throwback to Mike from the summer when the Lakers just signed AD. Who's stopping AD?
Hey, look, that's it. That's my only question all year long. That's it.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, they got Clint Capella, but what? Who else they got for height? I don't think they have enough. I really don't think it's going to be close. If it is close, I think that Westbrook and Harden are going to have one of those nights where they just can't miss. Yeah. But like I said, with the Lakers' depth and ability, I think they're going to have just enough to contain them. I really don't think it's going to be a close game whatsoever, which I hate admitting because, yeah. But yeah, okay. That's my thought.
All right, Ben, what you got?
I agree with Jordan. I don't think this game is going to be all that close. The Rockets aren't a bad team, but they're not on the Lakers level. I think if the Lakers do what they can to limit James Harden, and of course Westbrook's going to get his if you kind of stick your toughest defenders on Harden and maybe double team him at times. Westbrook and Capella, they might get theirs, although Capella to a lesser extent because he'll have a big post defender on him and he'll definitely have a hard time with AD or Dwight Howard, McGee, whoever's there. They can all defend him. I think if you can limit Harden to the best of your ability, this could be a 15, 20-point blowout. And if you can't, if Harden pops off, then like Mike said, it's still going to be a tight game. 5 points, but I think the Lakers are still going to win. Regardless, they're just a better team to me, and that's all it is.
Yeah.
I like it, Ben.
The Rockets, they have the ability to play great, but that inconsistency worries me. I'm going to take the Lakers in this first matchup as well, but then again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rockets won. But anyway, that's the game of the week. Lakers versus Rockets, Saturday, January 18th. Tune in to that game. Jordan, I'll pass it back to you.
Thanks, man. Great job for all the segments. Thank you guys for helping step in and fill some time. Obviously, this is a very long episode. We felt like we deserved some extra time because we've been gone for, 3-4 weeks now. It's been a while. Life happens. But that's going to do it for episode 29 of the CrownHoops Podcast. As always, I'm Jordan Daly. With me, I have Mike White, Stacey Collier, and Ben Okazawa. And we will see you guys next week, hopefully. Peace.